Hello, this is Steve Grizzetti, co-founder of MoviePix.com and author of the MoviePix Guides to Adobe Premiere Elements and Adobe Photoshop Elements and Premiere Elements together. And here we are in Adobe Premiere Elements. Now, one of the basic tools, and you'll find it featured throughout the program, one of the basic tools in Premiere Elements is something called keyframing. With keyframing, you can create animations. Now, these animations can be in the form of, say, a pan and zoom over a photo or a slide, or they can be animations of certain effects. And let me demonstrate how to do that and what exactly keyframing is. So we've got a photograph that I've added to my timeline here. Now, one thing I always recommend if you're going to do any panning and zooming, or anytime you add a photo, is that you pre-size the photo. If you're going to use it in a high definition project, you want it to be no larger than 2000 by 1500 pixels. If you're going to use it in a standard definition project, you want it to be no larger than 1000 by 750 pixels. Now that's a little larger than a video frame. Now I have a standard definition 720 by 480 pixel video frame here, and I'm using a photo that is 1000 by 750 pixels. That means it's larger than the video frame. I also recommend before you add any photos to your project, especially if you're going to do panning and zooming, that you turn off a preference. Now, your preferences on a PC are located under the Edit menu. On a Mac, they're located off to the side, as you know, right under the title of the program. And you want to go to the General page of your preferences, and you want to uncheck Default Scale to Frame Size. If you haven't done that before you add the pictures, you can do it manually by right-clicking on the picture and selecting Default Scale to Frame Size and making sure it's unchecked. If it's checked, what you get is a picture that is automatically scaled to fit inside your video frame. That's nice, but then you don't have that extra to create a motion path or a pan and zoom over it. So if you uncheck that box like this, you now have a little bit extra to work with, which is what we'll need in order to create our pan and zoom. So to create our pan and zoom, I'm going to move the playhead here, the CTI, to the beginning of that clip and select the clip on my timeline and go to my applied effects and then open up the properties for motion. Now, the motion properties that most commonly are used in a pan and zoom are scale and position. So our position is how the picture fits inside the video frame, and our scale is how large or how small that picture is. Now, if my picture is 1000 by 750 and I put it inside a standard definition video frame, that is about a third larger than the video frame. So if I set the scale to 66%, you see the picture almost fits in there. I'm just going to click and drag to shrink it down even more. And there we go. So my picture here, my photo, is now at about 50% of its actual size inside my video frame. So what I want to do is create a pan and zoom where I start with this sort of full shot of the entire photo, and then I want my pan and zoom to kind of zoom in on the woman behind, the woman with her hand on her hips. So in order to create that motion path, I need to turn on animation. Now, your keyframe workspace, your keyframe controller is accessed by clicking on this little stopwatch here at the top of the Applied Effects panel. And when I click on that, I get this area to work in here where I can create my keyframing. Now, I then need to toggle on my keyframing options. I can do that for individual properties by clicking on these stopwatches to the left of any property, or I can click on this stopwatch and set keyframes or toggle on animation for all properties. I'm going to select that right now. And you see when I do, I get these little diamond-shaped keyframes at the position of the CTI playhead. These indicate the beginning of my keyframe. I'll move my CTI playhead now to the end of my clip, and I'm going to now zoom in on the woman. Now, I can do this a couple of ways. I can either click on the frame here and then drag on these corner handles to make it larger or smaller. But I'm going to do it by just clicking and dragging over the numbers here. Or actually what I'm going to do is just go ahead and manually select and type in 100%. There's my close-up. And then to set my position, all I need to do is just click and drag so that this woman is in the middle of the picture. You see you have this little line here. This line is the indication of the motion in our animation. And you see over on our keyframe controller, the program has automatically created keyframes for any properties we've changed. So it's created a keyframe for position, and it's created keyframes for this change in scale. So we've gone our initial keyframe here This, by the way, is a shortcut to jump to keyframes. My initial keyframe, my position is 360 by 240, which is right in the middle of the frame, and my scale is 50%. And then my final keyframe, I'm at 138 and 269, so I'm a little off from the center of the picture, and I'm at 100%. And when I've done that by adding these two keyframes, you see that when I play my timeline, the program automatically creates the animation between the two keyframe points. Keyframes are wonderfully editable. You can delete them, you can change them, you can drag them around on the timeline to make your animation happen more quickly. The closer your keyframes are together, the faster the animation between them. And keyframes, as I say, are applicable in many places, not just in creating pan and zooms, but for instance, if I jump over here to this video clip, and if I were to add an effect to it, say the crop effect, you'll see that not only can I make adjustments to the level of cropping, but I can also animate them in the keyframe workspace area. So in other words, if I drag these all back to 0 so I have no crop at all, move my playhead to the beginning of the clip, toggle on the animation, there are my initial keyframes, move the playhead to the end, and now I can take, by either using the sliders here, or I can actually just select the effect and drag on the corners. Real nice shortcut. And now you'll see that I have new keyframes created at the end, and I have created now an animation between the two keyframes. And when I play it, we go from no crop to a nice little crop centering on the woman there on the left. So keyframes are tremendously powerful, very easy to use in the program. And if you want to know more about keyframing, if you want to know more about all the tools here in Premiere Elements, hope you'll check out the many tips and tutorials we have on our website. If you want to know about every single tool in the program, every single feature, every place where you can find keyframing, be sure to check out our books, the MoviePix.com guides to Adobe Premiere Elements and Adobe Photoshop Elements and Premiere Elements together, available at Amazon.com and of course right here at the MoviePix store. I'm Steve Grizzetti. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you again real soon.